my water broke at 26 weeks. As a reference point, that's, well, I had barely started wearing maternity clothes yet. And I didn't know anything about it. I had heard doctors could save babies that came early like that, so I was just like, okay, it'll be a tough few weeks, but we'll get through it. They kept him in as long as they could. He was born at 26 weeks and 5 days. Everything seemed as okay as it could be. We named him Alexander after Danny, my ex's dad. But on the second day, he had these tubes in him, in his mouth, in his tiny nose. It was wild, strung through him like spaghetti everywhere. And on his second day, the doctors told us he had had a brain bleed. They didn't know how bad or what parts of his brain had been affected, but they weren't sure he was going to live. And that was strange, because I hadn't met Alex yet. He was inside this glass cage. I wasn't allowed to hold him, and here I am looking at his MRI. I'm looking at pictures of the inside of my son's brain, and the doctors are telling me this is what this is, and this is what this is, and we're concerned about this here. Danny had a panic attack that night. We thought it was a heart attack when it was happening, but it turned out to be a panic attack. So I was rushing back and forth between the ER and the NICU, and I hadn't been discharged yet, so I was in a hospital robe and slippers, limping back and forth down the hallways, bleeding like I had been harpooned. I'm sorry, is that too much? Okay. And one time when I got back from the NICU, Alex was gone. Where his eye slit had been, there were just some disconnected wires on the floor. So I am running around the NICU, screaming like a mad woman, looking at every baby and every eye slit, trying to find my kid. But I didn't even really know what he looked like yet. So I was just, ugh. Turns out they had moved him to one of the private rooms for the sickest babies, and that was the one time I lost it. I screamed at this poor nurse who I'm sure had nothing to do with it. I said, "You're gonna move my baby and not tell me about it? Is this the kind of place that you people are running here?" Then I heard myself. I sat down in a chair, laughing. I mean, it was so ridiculous. We got Danny some pills and sent him home to rest. In the middle of that night, they told me that Alex wasn't gonna make it, and that I should say goodbye. I don't really know how to do that. So I just told him that he was wanted. I don't really know why I said that, Amelia. I don't even know if it was true in the moment. I just kept saying, "You're wanted. You're wanted. Know that you're wanted." The next morning I was discharged and he was still alive. I went home to get some rest, knowing that would be a risk. Danny wasn't there. And the rest you know. He lived. The neurologist says it's a miracle that he can do as much as he can, considering how bad the bleed was. They thought he was going to sleep through the rest of his life, but he's just... I mean, you'll come back another day when he's feeling better.